Welcome to NYC Now, your source for local news in and around New York City from WNYC. It's Monday, October 6th. Here's the midday news from Michael Hill.
Governor Kathy Hochul is extending a public health emergency aimed at keeping COVID-19 vaccines widely available. WNYC's Ramsey Khalife has more.
Hochul has renewed an executive order that allows pharmacists in New York to keep administering COVID-19 vaccines without a prescription. The move comes as the Trump administration delays access to the vaccine through a key federal program for children. And more delays can be expected now that the federal government has shut down. Hochul says the order will stay in place for at least another 30 days while her administration and state lawmakers work on a longer-term solution. She's also urging federal officials to allow states to order COVID vaccines through the Vaccines for Children program, warning that continued delays could jeopardize access for uninsured kids.
Mayor Adams is traveling today to Albania on what City Hall says is a trip to promote tourism and economic activity in New York. Officials say the mayor will meet with the government, business, and tech leaders. On his first day in the country, Adams will meet with the Albanian prime minister and his cabinet and will visit businesses and factories. City Hall says the trip will last a few days. It comes a little more than a week since Adams dropped out of the race for mayor. Election day is November 4th. And the New York Yankees are on the brink of elimination to end their season as they head home in a big hole. They dropped 2 games in Toronto in the best-of-5 American League Division Series. They play the Blue Jays tomorrow night at 8 in the Bronx. The winner of 3 games in the series advances in the playoffs. 75 and mostly sunny now, sunny and 83 for a high today with a light wind. And then tomorrow, another warm one, 81. Winds gusting to 21 miles an hour, and then showers and thunderstorm chances at night into Wednesday.
Stay close. There's more after the break.
NYC.
On WNYC, I'm Sean Carlson. New York City's rat czar is resigning from her newly created role as the citywide director of rodent mitigation after just 2 years. Her role mainly consisted of coordinating with other city agencies, like the Sanitation Department, to streamline rat mitigation efforts. Acting Sanitation Commissioner Javier Lojan joined us to talk about what work the Sanitation Department plays in fighting the city's rat population. Okay, Commissioner, we know the Sanitation Department is separate from the Mayor's Office of Rodent Mitigation, but that role was to coordinate with other city agencies, particularly yours, around the Sanitation Department's efforts to containerize the city's garbage. In what way did the new office help the work your department already does, and how did her job fit into your department's initiative?
So I think there have always been parallel paths when it comes to rodent mitigation. So I think her role when she came on obviously was to have one person to go to for, communicating with other city agencies, health department, parks, Department of Transportations. There's a bunch more. But I think, it's obviously easy to call one person rather than, a few multiple others. Mm-hmm. But I think the relationships that, we have with all these other city agencies have been there for a very long time. So it hasn't really been played a huge impact, with her departure. So, our goals remain the same. Nothing really changes at all as far as DSNY goes. So I think, obviously, we'll have to coordinate with more agencies, but I think we'll be in a good place.
Now, the city started enforcing putting trash bags into containers last year, right? Requiring all residential buildings with 9 or fewer units to put their trash out in those bins. They have secure lids. A large part of that effort was to reduce the amount of food that rats thrive on. It's been about a year since that law went into effect. How effective has it been?
So it's been very, very effective. So just anecdotally, anytime we have any kind of events, people are very pleased with containerizing their trash. In the lower density neighborhoods that, Eastern Queens, Staten Island, parts of the, Northern Bronx, the different areas, it was a lot easier for them. They have the space. They don't have a lot of constraints. So for them, it was fairly simple. And then as far as, actual data metrics go, we've had a reduction on rodent sightings for 10 consecutive months. So it seems like it's working. Obviously, we have a lot more work to do because now we're going to move into the mid and the high density buildings. And obviously that's, we can talk a little bit more about that here.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. We recently reported that the timeline to fully roll out containerization for bigger trash containers for mid-sized and large buildings may take 7 years due to parking concerns. That is a long time spanning 2 different mayoral administrations. Can't that be done any faster?
Right. So when we do an environmental impact study, we're required to put a deadline on there. That doesn't mean that it's going to take the full 7 years. We have the support of the current administration. Obviously, the next administration, obviously we don't know which mayor is going to be elected, but I think they're all supportive of containerization. And I think once we know, which administration is going to be taking place, then we can plan and move forward a lot quicker. I think the long pole in the tent, so to speak, is going to be the fleet. So right now we're working through, a contract to have the official, manufacturer in place, because the trucks that we're using right now in the pilot up in West Harlem, it was just based on a research and development, clause. So we were able to get some trucks, and it seems to be working out. So now once we get the procurement in place, we'll be able to move a lot faster. But, I don't want to speak officially, but I think we will be able to do it in, less than 7 years.
Okay. We'll hold you to that.
Yeah.
You mentioned that rat sightings are going down, right, since containerization started in the neighborhoods where it has.
Right.
We should note, though, that, when somebody sees a rat, not everybody calls 311 when they see that rat, right? So are there other ways that the department is working on to measure how well containerization is working in that regard?
Sure. So there's a few things we're working on. One thing I'm very excited about is, and it's not public yet, but it's an internal tool where we used to have what's called a cleanliness condition log, where our field supervisors, we have over 200 of them across the city, and they're the ones that go out and monitor the collection routes, make sure if they have any 311 complaints, anything like that. They also do, sanitation code enforcement. They go out and they observe the litter condition, some kind of drop-off bags, and then they will document it. That was a old school pen and paper log that was very time consuming. We then moved into a data collection app that all the supervisors have. It's geocoded. They're able to identify it. And then so I think that is going to pay big dividends for us, because obviously it's not just, household trash. It's litter. It's all kinds of things that people throw on the street. So I think that is something that we rolled it out to all our districts. We have 59 districts. And so far it's going really well. And we're going to, once we get enough data, we're going to look to use some analytics and see how we can leverage that for obviously playing a role in rodent mitigation as well.
I think a lot of people, for better or worse, probably more so worse, would admit that rats are pretty crafty. They're pretty smart animals, right? Since containerization has started to roll out, have you noticed them coming up with new strategies to get around it? Are they adapting at all?
So me personally, I haven't seen anything myself, but I have seen some interesting stuff on social media. The other day I saw a rat just running up to a garbage can and trying to run up. And I was like, is this AI generated? But it was real. Wow. And somebody posted it and said, the rats in New York City aren't the same like anywhere else. And they're like, but the little guy didn't succeed on making it on top. But okay. Yeah, I'm sure obviously they're going to adapt. They're very resilient. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure we're going to see some challenges as we get more successful. But, at the same time, that's where we're going to continue to make adjustments as well.
What is the plan moving forward for rat mitigation? And are there any new strategies beyond containerization that are going to be rolled out?
So I think the mid-density and the higher density is where I think we'll make the biggest impact. So we have the European-style on-street containers, which we call the Empire bins. Mm-hmm. We rolled it out in West Harlem, so we have the pilot. It just started in June. It's very, very successful. We've seen decline of rat sightings there as well. But I think more is just the aesthetics of the neighborhood. The building maintenance people are very happy with it, because you're not storing your trash in an area and then having to put it out, 2 to 3 times a week. And then the container is locked. You have to unlock it with an RFID card. It's only assigned to the building management. So that's obviously been very successful. And, next fall, we're going to continue that in Brooklyn. And then as we continue on to the rest of the districts, that's where we're really going to see some huge impacts. And we think that's what we're going to see some changes.
That was Acting Commissioner of the Department of Sanitation, Javier Lojan. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening. This is NYC Now from WNYC. Catch us every weekday, 3 times a day, for your top news headlines and occasional deep dives. And subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. More soon.